Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Halloween, and I thought we could do something spooky together. So get your popcorn ready, get a blanket, and get your lights off, because you want to watch it in the dark, because you don't want to watch TV when it's light, because it sucks, doesn't it? I hate that, man. See, whenever I'm watching TV and there's a light on around, it does my head in, man. Just turn everything off. Sorry. Today we're going to be checking out the most horrifying mental asylums in the United States of America. I didn't even know mental asylums were still a thing. I thought it was back in the day, but maybe not, or maybe they are. I don't know. We're gonna find out. Before I click play, ladies and gentlemen, I would absolutely love it if you enjoy the content, then maybe think about subscribing. I got like 68, 67% of people who watch the channel aren't yet subbed. I'm looking at you, Mike. I see you, brother. I'm Michelle.
Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching Top 10's Net, and in the video today, we're looking at the top 10 horrifying mental asylums.
Okay.
Number 10, Topeka State Hospital. Where? Topeka, Kansas. Years of operation from 1872 to 1997.
Quite recent.
It's hard to come to grips with the medical justification for castration, but somehow the practitioners at Topeka State Hospital...
What is castration? Is that when you get your head cut off?
...found the practice suitable. After Kansas law saw it fit to administer castrations for habitual criminals, idiots, epileptics, imbeciles, and the insane in 1931, Topeka State Hospital went on to perform 54 castrations.
Jesus Christ, look at the toenails on that. Castration is the removal of or destruction of the testicles. Oh. What am I thinking of then? I thought we were getting a head cut off.
Castrations
Even
were not
worse.
enough to frighten you. Accounts detail stories of a patient who had been strapped down so long that his skin began to grow over the straps. In addition, patients were victims of rape and other forms of abuse. What makes the abuse of patients at this hospital so disconcerting is that it was later revealed that many of the identities and illnesses of the patients were unknown, with the hospital lacking any proper paperwork for them to be committed. Somehow, the Topeka State Hospital remained open until 1997. Number 9,
Jesus.
Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Where? Louisville, Kentucky. Years of operation, 1910 to 1961.
That's gonna be bad.
The Waverly Hills Sanatorium is another case that demonstrates man's willingness to experiment on his fellow man with little regard or concern for his well-being. While not exactly deemed a mental asylum, the Kentucky hospital housed tuberculosis patients during an era of medical uncertainty on the subject. Without a prevailing...
There's going to be a lot of words thrown out here today, and I don't really know. I'm probably not going to know what I mean. Medical terms, your course castration and scoliosis, whatever the fuck he just said there. I'm not going to understand a lot of this, man. Scoliosis, is that what he said?
Without a prevailing paradigm for medical treatment of tuberculosis,
No, not... I don't know what the hell that is, man.
doctors resorted to barbaric methods. Cases of doctors removing ribs and muscles and even having inserted balloons into the lungs to help them expand more are well documented.
No!
The death rate at Waverly Hills Sanatorium has come under fire, with independent researchers and medical personnel at the sanatorium claiming different figures. According to Assistant Medical Director Dr. J. Frank W. Stewart, the highest number of deaths in a single year at Waverly Hills was 152.
Jesus.
Independent researchers have argued that the number is closer to 162 and have extrapolated that over the 50 years Waverly Hills Sanatorium was open, approximately 8,212 people died in their care.
What the
Number
hell?
8, Overbrook Insane Asylum.
Oh my
Where?
God.
Cedar Grove, New Jersey. Years of operation, 1896 to 1975. Operations began in 1896, with Essex County officials designating
it's a big one.
325 acres of land as the new location of the county asylum for the mentally ill. Specifically chosen for its scenic view, officials believed its remote location and high-altitude location would provide a healthy, peaceful setting for patients to rehabilitate in.
I don't know.
Nothing could have been further from the truth. Soon after opening, the patient-to-staff ratio became unbalanced, leaving too many patients in need of care that they weren't getting from the overworked staff. The results were frightening. Conditions were so bad that 24 patients froze to death in their own beds in the early 20th century, while more than 150 patients went missing and were never found. Despite all of this, Overbrook remained open for nearly a century, eventually closing in the 1970s. Number 7.
How the hell can it
Willowbrook
remain open?
State
People are
School.
freezing in the fucking
Where?
bed.
Staten Island, New York. Years of operation, 1947
There was
to
an asylum in
1987.
Staten Island?
One of the most important cases on our list is the Willowbrook State School, a state-sponsored institution for children who were intellectually disabled that became the catalyst for reform of mental health institutions. Things were so bad at Willowbrook that during the 1960s, Robert Kennedy referred to it as zoo-like and a snake pit. Initially designed for 4,000 children, by 1965, Willowbrook contained a population of 6,000 people. First-hand accounts claimed that patients were left to wander around the facility covered in their own urine and feces. However, what's more troubling is the experiments that the doctors carried out on the very children they were supposed to care for. Struggling to find answers about the outbreak of hepatitis, medical researcher Saul Krugman used the children of Willowbrook to answer those questions. One of his studies involved feeding the live hepatitis virus to 60 healthy children, according to researcher and author Paul Offit. Krugman watched as their skin and eyes turned yellow and their livers got bigger. He watched them vomit and refuse to eat. All the children fed hepatitis virus became ill, some severely. Krugman reasoned that it was justifiable to inoculate retarded children at Willowbrook with hepatitis virus because
it was justifiable. Someone find this doctor and arrest him.
Most of them would get hepatitis anyway, but by purposefully giving the children hepatitis, Krugman increased that chance to 100%. The great horrors of Willowbrook led to the passage of a federal law, the Civil Rights of Institutionalized Persons Act of 1980. Number 6, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, Ware, Weston, West Virginia. Years of operation, 1864 to 1994.
Jeez.
An amalgamation of many of our other cases, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum had it all. Built to house only 250 patients, by 1949 the hospital had over 2,400 people in its care. A 1938 report by a survey committee organized by a group of North American medical organizations found that the hospital housed epileptics, alcoholics, drug addicts, and non-educable mental defectives.
You have to go to a mental asylum if you're an alcoholic? How bad do you have to be as an alco to have to go to a mental asylum? Jesus!
Its population. Those they were not able to control were locked in cages, with others even being lobotomized with rudimentary instruments such as ice picks. All in all,
What's lobotomized? Lobotomized, as American, refers to someone who has undergone a lobotomy. No shit! What is it? It's now obsolete and highly controversial brain surgery. Lobotomy involved cutting or scraping connections in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for reasoning, decision-making, personality, and emotion. What? So they just became like a flipping vegetable? Oh my god, that is absolutely insane.
Allegheny Lunatic Asylum's horrible treatment of patients undoubtedly contributed to the tens of thousands of lives the asylum claimed during its surprisingly long years of operation. Number 5, Byberry Mental Hospital, Ware, Byberry, Pennsylvania. Years of operation, 1907 to 1987. Civil disobedience seems to have gotten a bad reputation in our current political climate, but it's certainly effective. When Charlie Lord, a conscientious objector, was assigned to duty at the hospital, he took 36 black and white photographs, which was enough for them to shut down Byberry Mental Hospital. The photos led to mass outrage, with even First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt pledging her support to combat the issue. Other reformers compared the conditions to Nazi concentration camps and described the overcrowded conditions where patients were sleeping in their own feces and urine. Multiple first-hand accounts describe the overwhelming filth of the facility and the patient's ability to roam the facility naked. Lord's images of the inhumane conditions were published in a 1946 issue of Life magazine and sparked widespread reforms of mental health facilities. With public pressure growing, the facility was forced to downsize and eventually close its doors. Number 4, Bloomingdale Insane Asylum, Ware, Morningside Heights, New York City. Years of operation, 1821 to 1880.
This is
established in 1821. The Bloomingdale Insane Asylum.
For some reason in my head before I watched this, I was like, this could be fun. I was very wrong. I was very wrong indeed. Nothing fun about this, man. This is fucking brutal.
Asylum was formed with the intention of morally rehabilitating mentally ill patients. However, the hospital's practices strayed greatly from
I thought it was just going to show us the actual asylums, maybe like a fucking tour around them or something. Now that they're closed, I didn't know it was going to be getting all this Subokus, Turkabilkulus, and all flipping bottomy and all of this
moral
stuff.
Principles. Journalist Julius Chambers managed to expose its revolting practices in 1872 by taking extraordinary measures. With the help of a senior editor of the New York Tribune, Chambers managed to have himself committed to the asylum for 10 days. After exiting the institution, he published a story detailing the inhuman practices at the asylum, including patients who were kicked and choked until they bled, and in some cases driven to suicide by systematic cruelties. As a result of his muckraking, the Bloomingdale Insane Asylum was forced to release 12 patients at the facility who were not mentally ill. In addition, Chambers' subsequent book, A Mad World and Its People, led to reform for the rights of the mentally ill. Number 3, Pilgrim Psychiatric Center, Ware, Brentwood, New York. Years of operation, 1941 to
Still
present.
open?
In the case of Pilgrim Psychiatric
Oh,
Center, the
shit.
gross misconduct of a single patient is more telling than the rampant abuse of its populace. In the 1940s, Beluga Jones was taken to Pilgrim Psychiatric
I
Center.
mean, this just looks. This just looks doesn't look inviting, does it? Doesn't exactly look like you pull up to the front of it and you get out and you think, oh, this looks nice. You do not think that, man. You get out of your car and you think, what the fuck is this? This is not a place you go to on purpose or by want.
Time, the
This is
largest
the place you get
hospital
dragged
slash
to.
asylum in the world. Beluga was admitted by her husband after a pregnancy with her last child resulted in psychosis. Family members state that her husband consented to the leucotomy.
Oh, what is... Nah. They get lobotomy too, man. So it goes in through the eye? The eye? Oh. I understand. Is that in through the nose? Like the center of the nose? Or is that above the... It looks like it's above the eye.
Only because doctors said it would work and was the only alternative. There, Beluga Jones had 15 rounds of electroshock over 10 weeks, despite her delusions continuing. Later, a lobotomy was performed where doctors drilled holes into her brain and swiped at the frontal lobes. Beluga Jones's story led Christine Johnson, her granddaughter, to pore over her file and demand answers on the use of the medical practices and why a Nobel Peace Prize would be awarded to a man.
Who the fuck thought lobotomizing someone would be a good idea? People have sat around a table and thought, you know what, we should go in there and start messing about with their brain. Start swiping their brain and taking parts of their brain. Who thought that would be a good idea?
That legitimized lobotomy and made it into a public practice. After spending decades in
Arrest
facility,
them.
in 1972, Beluga Jones was released. Somehow, Pilgrim Psychiatric Center is still open today. Number 2,
What?
Greystone Park Psychiatric Hospital, where Morris Plains,
gotta
New
be the
Jersey,
only one still
years of
open.
operation, 1876 to present. Greystone Park Psychiatric Hospital does not differ greatly from many of the other
I mean, how is this still open? It's literally closed.
wards on this list.
What?
It was guilty of overpopulation, squeezing 2,412 patients in a space meant to hold no more than 1,600. Additionally, Greystone administered insulin shock therapy, electroconvulsive therapy on veterans suffering from PTSD. However, what makes Greystone unique is that it housed one of the legends of folk music, Woody Guthrie. Guthrie had a stint at Greystone from 1956 to 1961. He was suffering from Huntington's disease, a hereditary, degenerative nervous disorder, which
shit.
would eventually prove terminal. During his stay there, Woody referred to Greystone as Gravestone. Guthrie wrote hundreds
great.
of letters from Wardy 40, the nickname of his hospital wing, which just goes to show that patients who are diagnosed with mental illness still need the human contact and interaction that we all do. Number 1, Penhurst Insane Asylum. Where? Spring City, Pennsylvania. Years of operation, 1908 to 1907. While abuse to any patient is reprehensible, Penhurst Insane Asylum...
1908 to 1907, did you say?
While abuse... Years of operation, 1908 to 1907. While abuse to any patient is reprehensible, Penhurst Insane Asylum's treatment of children puts it in a league of its own. Built to educate and care
The
for the
size
mentally
of this
disabled,
place.
Penhurst soon came to be identified for just the opposite. As a result of investigative reporter Bill Baldini in 1968, the public learned
Oh
of the
my
horrible
God.
conditions in the asylum. The news report, titled Suffer the Little Children, showed neglected children's screams filling the air, large-scale physical and sexual abuse, and a general lack of empathy towards patients. The report also revealed that children who bit one another got a warning, with a second warning leading to a child's teeth being pulled out. After a second report by former resident Terry Lee Haldeman, the courts found that over 3,000 of the institution's patients were not receiving adequate care, and the institution
shit.
was closed.
So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that
I
like.
honestly don't know what the fuck to say about that video, to be honest, man. I put this video on thinking, oh, it's Halloween, this could be spooky. I'm fucking depressed after watching this. What the hell have we just witnessed, man? Has anything good ever came of those asylums, ever? Or are they just a place people go and then that's see you later? Like, do they ever come out of these places fucking healed or better? I don't think I've ever heard of anyone, you know what I mean? I feel like we need to change the word asylum as well, man. Asylum, it's not good. It's not a good word. It's too scary. Change it. It should be called the Rainbow Facility. Don't know why. I don't really know how to describe or what we've just seen. That was absolutely mental. All jokes aside, isn't it kind of crazy how stuff used to be? Like a couple of them are still apparently present. But like in terms of practices and what the doctors used to carry out on patients to try and heal them or fix them or sort them out. Like, it's just insane to see. Everyone says about how bad modern day society is, but at least this shit doesn't go on in these places as far as we know. Well, if that depressed anybody, that's my bad. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, happy Halloween!